Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. As promised, I had my motorhome habitation check done by a company recommended to us by Bev and Jez from the Motorhome Miles, which I will link them into the description below, as well as Habcheck. And as far as I'm concerned, the engineer that came to us, Wayne Wragg, based in Sherwood Forest area, he was excellent. He knew his stuff, and they are fully qualified to maintain your warranties for your motorhome. So check out the vlog and see how he talks and gives a really good backing of his knowledge by what he does. So enjoy. I'll see you at the end. Yeah.
Hi, morning David. So my name's Wayne, I'm from Habcheck. So I'm a mobile engineer for Habcheck. We are AWS and NCC approved. So if you do get a mention from your dealer that you do have to take your van back to them, not always the case. We are AWS approved, as I say, so we can look after your servicing needs and habitation needs for your motorhomes or caravans. So I've just come to see the customer today, David. I'm going to do a hab check, and the things I'm going to be looking at are the outside of the van initially. So have a good look round, make sure that all your fixtures and fittings are attached to the van as they should be. Have a good look round the outside of the bodywork before we start anything really. Make sure there's no like bumps and scrapes and scratches on there, maybe things that you're not aware of. I'll then have a look underneath the van as well. Make sure there's no pipes that are loose. Make sure that your underslung tanks are fixed in position. Just a general look round underneath. Make sure there's no damp under there, because on some of the older vans you can see the wood, you can see that where it's starting to rot from the bottom. And also whilst underneath, just trying to get a general feel of where things are. So we might be able to spot where the battery bay is or where the fresh water tank is whilst we're underneath. Have a good look round. Yeah, and on top as well, we have a look at things like the solar panel, just to make sure it's fixed in place. Make sure there's no cracks on the roof. I've got examples, David, that I can show you of things that I've found on people's roofs before that they would never know. You know, just cracks that are there letting in water, and they could be letting in water for a long time if they've not had the hab check done. And then things like your aerials, you know, and your roof lights, just make sure there's no cracks in them as well. Once we've done everything on the outside, then we'll move to the inside, but that starts with gas checks. Every engineer is different. They may decide to start with electrical checks, they may decide to start with damp checks, but myself, I prefer to start with gas checks. So we'll do a let-by test on your gas bottle itself and on the system, just to make sure it's not leaking from your bottle. And then we'll do a tightness test. So we'll take the pressure up to somewhere between 28 and 30 millibars, and we'll test that the whole gas system is nice and tight, so you know for your own safety that there's no sort of leaks in that system at all. Once we've done the tightness test and we're happy there's no gas leaks in the actual motorhome itself, we'll come in, we'll run all the systems up, make sure they're all starting as they should do on gas. We'll then shut the system back down again and just make sure the flame failure devices are working. You'll see that in the video as well, where I've done a bit of a demonstration on how flame failure devices work. So if you don't see that in the video, I'll just explain it to you now. If you had your gas hobs running, for instance, and then you decided to change the bottle, let's say they ran out of gas, you decided to change the bottle, you went outside, you put a new bottle on there, you opened it straight up, and then you went off to the pub without coming back in the van. If your flame failure devices aren't working, then you could be letting gas into your actual motorhome. We go around and check that all your flame failure devices are working. So if you had anything operating at that time when you changed that gas bottle, or something blew the actual flame out, then we know that the gas is safe. It's going to cut itself out from the thermocouple, the flame failure device, and make sure no gas is going to flow. We also check your isolation points on your gas pipes. We check the gas bonding on the pipes, and we also do an electrical test on your chassis as well to make sure the electrical bonding is good. Then we will do your electrical tests. So an amp draw test on anything, any appliance in here. So today, for instance, we're looking at things like your microwave. You've got electrical hob outlet, so we'll make sure that's working as it should do. Your fridge, your tumour boiler, just to make sure all of those systems are working as they should do. Things like on your boiler, making sure that both elements are working as they should do. A customer could have a faulty element on their boiler for years and not know that it's not as efficient as what it should be. So we can check all them sort of things. After we've done the amp draw test, we'll come on to, not a continuity test, we'll come on to a polarity test. So all your plug sockets, all your 12 volt sockets, all your USBs, just to make sure the polarity is as it should be. We can detect a number of issues from this. Obviously, if the wiring is incorrect in your actual plug socket, but also if the wiring is incorrect in your garage or your house, wherever the power may be coming from. A number of occasions where I've been to and checked a plug socket in a motorhome and it says that there's no earth. It turns out there's no earth in the garage. Actually, when you trace it back, the customer then wants to get their earth sorted out in their garage, so they weren't aware it wasn't working. So yeah, after the polarity test, we'll then go on to checking the RCD. We put a little box in line between the two cables that we're using to make sure that the house is not tripping while you're doing your RCD tests. And we have a proper RCD tester which tests the RCD on 6 different settings to make sure that it's working on the correct sensitivities. After your RCD tests, we'll come to the damp test. On this van, it's a floor only check, just because of the construction of the motorhome. So the sides are actually built out of GRP and the roofing as well, so there's no issues with checking them. They will be a visual check only. I can put my damp meter all around here, but actually it's not going to pick anything up because it's not made of wood. The floor is, so we do a non-invasive test all over the floor, anywhere we can get to, and hopefully we're not going to pick any moisture up. If we do, we've got some needles as a backup to pop in somewhere where you can't see the customers, where we can't see we've been. Just to check that there's no moisture in that area at all. A non-invasive damp meter doesn't only pick up moisture; it also picks up metals, wiring, things like that. So you can be checking around somewhere and it looks like it's damp, but actually it's not. It's just metal. After the damp check's done, a bit of a furniture check. We'll go around everywhere, look round all the cupboards, just make sure there's no visual signs of any moisture, especially on something like this where we don't do a damp check in the cupboards. We'll go around and have a good look round, and then we'll get onto the windows, open all the windows up, have a look on the outside, make sure the seals are good, like we did on the roof just there. Make sure there's no issues with them, and then I go around with the silicone spray and all of your rubbers on the van. Make sure they're kept in pristine condition. So that rubber is being kept supple, it's doing its job properly, it's sealing to the windows and it's not letting any moisture in. And then we're about done, to be honest. We get to the report at the end and take payments. That's everything.
Thank you, Wayne.
No problem.
So we're here doing the habitation check with Wayne.
Good morning. We've detected a small leak, so we're just going around and just checking all the points where it could possibly be leaking through. There's not detected anything on the gas sniffer, so we might have to isolate it inside and just have a check around there as well. Okay, so we're not detecting anything on the outside around here. I'm going to repressurize the system. I've pulled some gas through now. So I'm going to repressurise it and just test it again. And we're trying to get the system pressurised up to about between 28 and 30 millibars. So we've done the let-by test initially, and this is called a tightness test. And what we're hoping is that that doesn't drop by more than a millibar over a 2-minute period. We first of all have to let it stabilise as well.
I'll let you.
I'm going to let that stabilise for a minute and then I'll come back to it. The great thing about having a digital manometer is that, if you can see this here, David, is that that is stuck at 28.77.
Yeah.
I know from experience that that is not going to drop by more than a millibar in 2 minutes. That's not dropping at all.
No.
So we're very tight. The system is tight.
But there is a smell.
There was certainly a smell that I detected. One thing I did do when I opened this up and had a good look round, I tightened this bottle as well.
Yeah.
Which I wish I'd not done before I did this test. Because I tightened this bottle up quite a lot, it may be that it was leaking naturally from this bottle. So the let-by test that we do initially, it would have been done on this bottle to make sure that the gas is not leaking into the system. When you've got a tight system, it's not so much of an issue. If you had any sort of leak on the system and your gas bottle was leaking, then it would be leaking out. It could be that this had a little bit of a leak on the let-by. So what I can do is I can hook that up, I can do a separate test on that gas bottle just to see if that's got a leak on the let-by, and that might have been the actual issue where you're getting the gas coming through and that gas smell from. So I'm more than happy with my test that I've done on the tightness there. So what I'm going to do,
just that bottle's not been connected up.
Yep.
But one of these holds what, 14.
That's a 6 kilogram bottle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That holds 14 litres.
Yep.
And in the space of 3 months,
that's gone.
That's gone.
And you haven't used it?
No. But I inadvertently left it on because we'd been running the heating in the winter on it, and that's what made me think. But perhaps it's...
Well, let's test the other bottle.
Yeah.
And then I'll know if that's leaking. So that's closed now and that's tight. And I've just done a test on the end of the actual hose. So I would have known if that was leaking, that would have picked it up straight away. And this couldn't pick anything up in this area, even though our nose did. As soon as we opened that gas locker, we could smell something, couldn't we?
Yeah.
But it seems like, well, I mean, I've probably made a mistake by tightening everything up when I first gone in there, because I just naturally want to tighten everything up and make sure it's tight before I do my tests. So I'm just going to grab a spanner and I'm going to connect that one up.
Yeah.
Your ammonia in your fridge system at the back, it needs to be constantly circulating, or not constantly, but it needs to circulate. If it's sat there, it will separate from the other chemical that's in there, which is your anti-rusting chemical. Yeah. And what will happen is it will rust in areas in the back of the actual fridge and the compressor and the heating system. So it's a very good idea to run your fridge on the odd occasion with the gas, just to get everything flowing through. You'll find that fridges are the one things that really struggle to light on gas. So if we go out to a motorhome and it's been 6 months, a year or so where they've not run the fridge on gas, you can normally tell, because it takes a little bit of time to get it lit, especially with the older fridges where they've got the piezo ignitions and you're pressing it for a long time to try and get them to light. You've got a lot of stale gas sat in the system there. Somebody who uses it on a regular basis, you can pretty much start it, it'll be up and running within seconds. Yeah, I'd recommend using them as much as possible really on gas. So everything's now running on gas. I'm about to shift outside, switch your gas off, and I'm going to check all your flame failure devices at once. So I'm checking that all these 3 hobs here, your grill, I've checked your oven already separately, your fridge and your Truma heating and water system, all their flame failure devices work. So a flame failure device, just so you know, if you were to change the bottle over on the gas now, let's say it all went out, your gas is gone, so you've gone out and you change your bottle, you've put a new bottle on, you've opened the gas up straight away. In theory what should happen is all your flame failure devices will kick in that time that you've gone out and put a new bottle on. So these will all, you'll hear a thud, it's your thermocouple, all your flame failure devices have kicked in, so that no gas can actually flow back into your motorhome. If one of them has failed, unfortunately, when you put that new gas bottle on and turn your gas on, in theory, one of these could be actually leaking gas. You could have put your new gas bottle on, opened it up and gone out for the day, and come back and this motorhome could be full of gas. So we check all your flame failure devices. So I'm just going to go and do that now. I'm very rarely film, David, so it's a new one to me, this. Whilst I'm waiting for them devices to kick in, I'm going to check your battery. I'm just getting a multimeter ready to check your battery, so I'm going to nip round to your driver's side. So you say you've got a lithium battery under here, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. It's accessible as well, which is nice. So what I'm going to be doing here is testing, first of all, testing the actual voltage of the battery on idle. We have got a little bit of power coming through the solar panel, but what we're really testing for is that your battery is not too low on volts in the first instance. All your lights are actually on in the motorhome at the moment, so we'd hope that your battery is still reading a good voltage. Also checking for security. On older batteries, I mean this is a lithium, on older batteries like lead acid batteries, I say older, they're still commonly used, but if there is a lead acid battery under the seat, that would concern me. If it's one of them that you have to top up with distilled water, then it's very difficult to get to. What happens with lead acid batteries over time is that they start to degrade, the water, the distilled water starts to go down, and then the batteries are effectively boiling themselves when they've got no liquid inside. And what you might start to smell is like a sort of eggy smell in your motorhome, and it's the hydrogen sulfur that's being produced by the battery. It's very dangerous, it's very explosive. So we don't recommend that them sort of batteries are fitted under the seats, so we check them sort of things. Also, if you had a lead acid battery under the seat, you'd hope to have the breather pipe on there that was going to the outside of the motorhome. So if there was any sort of incidence of hydrogen sulfur, it would be on the outside of the motorhome and not on the inside. So your security here, I'm just tightening up these straps for your battery because they're a little bit loose. We don't want that rocking around really. These expensive lithium batteries.
Yeah, it's got from 2022, I think it was, they started putting lithium batteries in.
That is good. It's high spec, isn't it?
Yeah. But still got a lead acid on for the
engine.
For the engine, because I don't think lithium will give you the crank amps.
No,
so.
Lithium wouldn't. Certainly not. Brilliant. So we've got 12.78 volts on your lithium battery. I'm more than happy with that. And then what I'm hoping for is when I start the engine and when I put it on hookup, is that battery voltage is going to go up, which is telling me that the system's actually being charged when the engine's running and when you're on hookup. So I'm just going to record that 12.78. Your gas hoses. I mean, we do obviously check the condition of them as well and make sure they're fine in their lovely condition. Do you mind if I use your bathroom, David?
Yeah.
Is that alright? I'm sure you know all about this already, David.
You just change the plug, or?
I'm checking for.
No, I meant just plug it straight into that.
No, I'm going to check for your bonding at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm checking that your earthing, your chassis and your gas pipes are bonded, or earthed, as most people would know it.
Or safe bonding, as we used to call it.
So initial check on my equipment to make sure perfect. So I've got my readings. I know my cable is zeroed. Oh. On your gas pipe here, it's coming up at 1.7, so I'm going to check that inside where it's actually bonded, but I'm just going to check the chassis first before I go inside. So your bonding has to be less than half an ohm in order to pass. So your chassis is 0.0, absolutely perfect. I want to go inside and check your gas bonding and find the point at which your earth strap comes into your motorhome and connects to your actual gas pipe. One of the things we do like as Habcheck engineers is everything to be accessible. Things like this, so we can see when we're doing our damp checks, make sure that we can see the whole floor, especially around water pipes like this. So I've had the water running, I can't see anything down there. I can't see, the chassis is not actually, sorry, the gas pipes aren't actually bonded here, but I'm just going to check on the inside as well before I go and find the bonding point. Oh, I don't want to do that. Here we go.
Yeah, 0.07.
You see it's going down. 0.4, 0.3. Yeah. So we're good. It's past the bonding. I'll leave them out for a minute so I can do it when I do my damp tests. Let's put them out of the way for a minute. Right, I'm just going to disconnect your gas. Just put everything back as it was before. I'm going to put your test your gas bottle and put it back. On that one, come let's have a look. Oh yeah.
Just doing the damp meter readings. In the newer vans, you only do the floor because the walls are plastic. Is that's correct, isn't it, Wayne?
GRP, yeah, they're a different material on the walls. So what we get given as an AWS approved engineer is a matrix, which tells us about a van and the construction of it. So I'll quickly show you. You can see it on camera then. A picture paints 1,000 words and all of that. I was actually on a Swift yesterday, very similar to this. I believe this is based on the, is it based on the Escape or the,
yeah,
the Escape, is it?
Yeah, the Escape 684.
So I don't know if you can see this on camera, but between 2014 and 2016 the construction of all these Swift Escapes was wood in the sides, roof, front, rear and floor. It was wooden everywhere. And then after 2017 you can see that they started to construct just the floor in wood and the sides are GRP. It's only to 2022, but I know that 2024 is the same, and this is a 2023 model, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it would be the same. And I've checked this. I've checked the sides out myself, and I know that they're the GRP. So when you do a damp test on the sides, this damp meter in particular, it's got a non-invasive plate on the back, so your hand has got moisture in it. You can see there that it's got a level of moisture. When you put it on wood that's dry, it should be about 14, well, actually between, let's have a look. There's not really anything on that one, is it? We've got here 12% on this wood here. So wood does have a natural amount of moisture in it anyway. But then when you go on to the actual board itself, it reads absolutely nothing. Because there's nothing there to read, there's no wood, there's no moisture to detect. The floor, you have got a very small lining on here, so just a floor liner, and then you've got your wood construction underneath it. So that's why we're doing the floor tests, and we can see it's 7% just there. What this does is it takes a reading, I think it's about 12 mil below the actual bottom of it. If we get to an area where we do detect that it might have moisture, so let's say I went into an area around the corner and I picked up a 9 99.9%. The plate isn't the most accurate, so we do use needles, and I've got needles in my bag up there. I'll just show you the camera. Thank you. I don't need them on this van, luckily, because there's been no damp detected at all, which is excellent news. So these are the needles that we would use. We pop them into the side of the damp meter, we change our setting, and I have got a calibrator in there to know that it's actually accurate. Again, it's detecting moisture, and at 17% it says that that reading is a little bit too high, and it starts warning me. So if I did detect damp down here in this corner, I would always put my needles somewhere where they would never be seen by the customer or any future customers. So for this, in this instance, I would put it under the material there, and I'd pop it in, and we can see there's no damp in there anyway. They're always the places to do it. If you had to check round a window, you would take the window, if it wasn't this van, if it was a van that was built of wood, you would take the window seals back and make sure you put the pinholes around the behind the rubber. Yeah, never put it where a customer can see them pinholes. So I'll just carry on my damp test down here.
Do you want to
I can't
lift this seat?
Can't get quite up.
All right, fine.
Yeah, that's all right. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, lift.
Yep. Lift. Lovely, thank you. So to get to that back bit just there.
You might catch a little bit there.
What, damp?
Yeah, because when I put that valve in, a little bit of water got on the floor, but it should have dried by now.
You're all good, there's nothing at all in there. It's also handy to move the seats around as well, because you can have a visual check of any sort of water leaks, especially around the pump areas around here. Yeah. And there's nothing at all down there.
You can see that isolator valve.
Yes, down here, yeah.
The blue one, and then there's one on the silver one on the valve.
Yeah.
The air valve.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you shut that off for the tank because the tank's not sealed.
Yep.
And then you open up the one on the air valve.
Yep.
Pressurise the system.
Yep. And
to blow out any secondary pumps,
yep,
which you get in tanks, you just open it up.
Yeah.
If it's yeah.
Fantastic. It's a great way of doing it. Well,
keeps your system.
It is
from freezing and stagnant water.
It's brilliant. Well, some customers do ask us to do a water flush on their system, and it's pretty much what you're doing there, apart from the fact that we run some chemicals around the system first. We let the chemicals settle, we open all the taps, we get all the water out of the system, and then we pressurise it, the same as what you've just described there. Pressurise it, all the microorganisms, everything that's in the system is just forced out by air, and everything's dry then, and we know the system's empty of everything. Put that back down. Oh, these are fun, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, they are.
So that is all of the damp test complete now, and the final thing I'll do is just make sure your windows are shut and just check the blinds. And then that's the Habcheck complete, apart from the report that I've got to write up. So a check of a blind is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just checking that it works as it should do, and there's no mould on it, anything like that. It's working as it should. Slide's lovely. It's not yellow, it's not stained, it's perfect. So, play Jenga with cushions now. It was the big cushion that went that side, wasn't it?
That's all right.
Just saying that it's all mod cons now. It's all electronic, so we don't deal with paper anymore with regards to reports. The advantage of that is that the 2 photos that I've got for yourself, they get attached to your report.
Yeah.
So as a customer, you can see exactly what we're talking about, rather than just showing you on my phone what I've found. So I'm going to send the photos through while I do the report. The photos obviously also help, let's say if it was going in to be repaired somewhere, the person who's repairing it, if you're sending the report to them and saying, look, this is what I want doing, they've got a better idea of what needs to be done. Now, as I'm writing everything in the report, so the first thing that I'm putting in here is your VIN number. I'm just putting your customer details in to the system. So the VIN number of the motorhome's in there. Manufacturer, I've got Swift, and it's a high style. What is it? 684, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mileage 2,732. 2732. So then the first thing that pops up on here is the check of the underbody. So corner steadies and folding step, actually none of them are appropriate. Underslung tanks, check of security, which I've done. The underslung tanks, everything under there was fine apart from your step area, which I'll go into later. Ask about electrics, so what have we checked? So battery condition of the battery, it has passed. Battery top up wasn't required. Fridge, check that it's working with the engine running, and also checked it on 230 as well. Interior lighting and fuses were all fine. Awning light has been checked and that's fine. Wiring is all fine. In fact, I need to check your extension lead. I need to go through that. Your earth bonding passed, and so did your gas bonding. RCD has passed. The polarity of all your sockets. There isn't an electric awning or step, so that's not appropriate. The charger has passed. The electric hob passed. Boiler. All the appliances. There is no air conditioning. And EICR wasn't offered. Don't have the equipment to conduct that. And this is me just signing off the first section. Because we are qualified in electrics, we have to sign off the electrics and the gas because we've done the gas courses, electrical courses. Gas wise, regulator, no issues there. Pipe work, manifold, the age and performance, security, everything was fine. Carried out a leak check, that was all good. Cylinder security was good. Flame failure devices we went through, I checked all of them. And then it asked for individual devices as well, so your cooker, your heater, your fridge. Water boiler. Check that all your gas dispersal vents are clear. We did that, and that, again, this is me signing it as being gas qualified. Water systems. So your water pump and pressure switch are fine. Your taps are fine. Water filter and housing, that's all good. Water system check for leaks, there were no leaks. Water tank. Do you want the system draining down, or are you going to do that yourself? You're going to do it yourself. Okay, so I'll put NA. Toilet has been checked. Ventilation. Fixed ventilation works as it should do. There is guards on your drop vents, and your roof lights, check for cracks, operation, free from obstruction, all good. Smoke alarm and carbon monoxide detector both in date and have passed. Fire extinguisher again was in date and has passed. Did you have a fire blanket in here? No. So not applicable on your fire blanket. Bodywork, so doors, windows, locks, catches have all passed. So it does ask about the roof, condition of roof lights, seals and general condition of roof. So it will go down as a pass because there's no signs of water ingress on the inside. But it will be noted in my report to say a recommendation that you keep your attention on it, basically. Just keep your eye on it. It may require you to have some remedial work done to it. But I can't see any signs of water at the moment.
Yep.
The thing about Habcheck is it's preventative. You know, we try and find things before they happen, especially with damp checks. If we can spot something like them seals before it starts letting the water in, then all the better for the customer. Roof straps weren't any on this. Body attachments were all fine. Your cab seats are passed. Grab handles, there aren't any. Floor lamination, there isn't any. Furniture's all passed. There is that little bit on there, but I wouldn't fail it for that. You haven't got a rising roof. Your fly nets and blinds have all passed. And I did do a damp check, so I just put the damp figures into here. Weather conditions today, it's nice and dry. Temperature is a balmy 10 degrees. And then what sort of damp meter I'm using. Damp report, so there's nothing to report on your damp because there isn't anything. Damp test observations, all I'll put in here is I've done a damp test according to the damp matrix, so I've checked the floor only and there was no damp observed. And then it asks for your levels, so your battery levels. So your battery on idle was 12.78. With your charger running from mains was 13.8, which tells me it's charging, it's doing what it should do. And then with the engine running, it gone up slightly, so 12.9. Your earth bond had passed at 0.0 and your continuity on your gas bonding was 0.4. The RCDs that we tested were on times 1 22.4, which is less than 50 milliseconds, which is a pass. And then your RCD on times 5 was 10.8. Again, it's less than 50 milliseconds, it's a pass. Gas hose was present, yes. Your gas hose date was 2023. The recommended date for replacement on that gas hose is 2033. Smoke detector date was 2032. Sorry, that's a replacement of 2032. Smoke detector battery was fine. Carbon monoxide detector passed. And the carbon monoxide detector date was a replacement of 2034. Fire extinguisher was replacement 2026. And the regulator was manufactured in 2023. Recommended replacement date would be 2033, a 10-year lifespan on them. And then it's just the recommendations at the end of the report. So the two recommendations are with regards to your skylight seal and the step that's not been fully sealed. So I'm just going to type this into here.
That's the skylight above the cab.
the skylight up here. Yep, in the corners.
And then underneath on the chassis is the step, and it's not actually fully sealed, but a bit of Sikaflex will sort that out.
So the photos will go in your report. You might want to add the photos to your video as well. Step not fully sealed. Put on here see image. Are all of my other checks complete? So this is as a reminder for me just before I walk off the job to make sure that I've left you with the keys and little things like that. So final checks, observation video complete, which I've done. You saw me do that when I first got here. Number of photos required are 2. So I'll attach these 2 photos. If they've gone through, they haven't gone through yet. In fact, there's 3 photos I'm going to send.
1 for each corner.
I've got 1 for each corner and then 1 for the step. Right, let's try that again. Oh, here we go. Not wanting to play.
The Wi-Fi or thing is shit signal.
It's trying to send it on Bluetooth.
Oh right.
And it doesn't normally have an issue. Here we go. Right, it's starting to transfer now. Roof lights are all locked. Windows are all locked. Your cupboards are all latched. Water isn't drained. Water pump is. It says, is it off? It is off, but I'll click off on here. There we go. Gas bottle is turned off, you saw me do that earlier.
Yep.
Your service book isn't stamped, unfortunately. We don't have one at the moment, but I'll come back and get that stamped for you. Exterior lockers and doors aren't locked at the moment, but I'll go around the van and just make sure everything's locked. Mains power will be switched off. Keys handed back. Your keys are on the driver's seat, and there are no protective coverings to put back on. See if them photos have gone through. Hey. not fully sealed. There we go. Right, so that's all your report done. The last thing to be done is, if you don't mind signing it, please, David. Just type your name in here. And it's a squiggle anywhere in that area, if you don't mind, please. Lovely. And that will get emailed straight through to you. What I will do before I send the email off, I'll just check your email address. I don't know if you want that on camera. So that's been submitted. That will go straight through to your email address, and it comes out as a PDF. It'll be about a 5-page PDF with the 3 photos at the bottom. And then the last thing to do is just take payment.
Yeah, I've got some cash for you.
I've remembered today. Most jobs I walk off and forget all about it. You've got cash for me, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. So we can normally take payments by card on the system, but if customers want to pay cash, then it's yeah, no problem at all. Fantastic, that's all done for you then. I'll just run around the outside, make sure everything's locked.
Hi, welcome back. Yes, Wayne is one of 16 engineers that Habcheck have on their books that I'm aware of. What, 16 on the website, covering, I would say, nearly 100% of the UK. Maybe it's remote areas that they don't cover. But excellent service. And the one thing that really amazed me was the fact that they did such a good job. You don't have to take your motorhome empty down to a dealer, leave it there for a week, and then they say, oh well, we ain't had time to check it. So these people are excellent. I don't say that lightly. He was very good, and I was quoted up to £500 plus VAT for various dealers around the Lincoln, Nottinghamshire areas. Yeah. Habcheck came out, £269 all in. All you've got to do is supply the water and the electric for the check. It's done at your house and very efficiently. I was given 3 photographs of work that obviously hadn't been done from the manufacturer. I'm in a debate whether to take, because I've had my motorhome back 3 times and they can't suss it at all. So I'm losing faith with the engineering department of the dealer that I purchased it from. So my recommendation is checking the link below, Habcheck. Good idea. Saves you money. They can do everything to maintain your warranties. They all are qualified to do it. So if nothing else, look at the website. It's all in the description below. Enjoy. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon. TTFN.